But Michigan did announce that Kyle Whittingham, the former Utah coach, who who's a little more sturdy, I would guess you would say, right, old school, going to come in and try to lead the Wolverines. He has been selected as the new head coach of the University of Michigan. He comes with a pretty good resume as well. He was with the University of Utah from 2005 to 2025. He's the all-time wins leader for the University of Utah as well. He had a undefeated season in 2008 where he went 13-0. He has two Pac-12 championships under his belt from 21 and 22. He also won a Mountain West Conference championship in 08. And then he's won the National Coach of the Year award three different times in 08, 2019, and 2021. He signed a 5-year deal with Michigan, averaging $8.2 million annually. And he's going to be coming over here and trying to see if he can take the Wolverines back to the promised land. What do you think about this signing for your Wolverines, Emilio?
I think given the circumstances, the timing of it all, after all the coaches have been hired, I feel better about Michigan getting Kyle Whittingham than I do Penn State getting Matt Campbell. It's kind of a similar hire, but I like what Kyle Whittingham has done as a collective at his time in Utah. He's a guy that's loyal. My only concern is his age, not because I'm ageist, but because when you're 66 and you've already built this resume that you have, I mean, how much more can you put into reviving a program, especially from where it's at right now?
Yeah.
I think it's probably at the lowest of the low, not necessarily with, I mean, sure, you're 2 years removed from a national championship, but when you look at everything that's happened since then, you've had two head coaches gone with multiple scandals all over the place. No good media has really come to Michigan since that national championship. And even when it was happening, there was still a lot of bad publicity there. So that part concerns me on how much tolerance he's going to have to do a whole rebuild. And it'll be interesting to see the carryover. I think what he made at Utah was kind of impressive. It was right after Urban Meyer had done a full haul over there at Utah. He came in that next season after. And he was able to kind of sustain that success. At that point in time, everybody thought Utah was, that's a great Cinderella story. We're going to move on from this, and that's going to be the end of Utah once Urban Meyer leaves. And Kyle Whittingham did a good job of keeping them prominent for a while, not necessarily competing for national championships, but it wasn't another Mountain West team that you were just going to push over. It became a Boise State and eventually transformed into, an Oregon, and then transformed into, I guess that's kind of where it stayed, was right there. A team that could compete, a team that was physical, a team that was going to give you problems, but were they ever going to have the biggest recruits? Probably not, but they were going to make do with what they had and give you a competitive team year in and year out. So it'll be interesting to see what he does at a school where he will get all of those big recruits, or it has that opportunity and has the financial backing behind him, because I think Michigan's pockets are just a little bit deeper than Utah's. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm assuming. So it'll be neat. I think his style of football that he plays will carry over to the Big Ten relatively well. I think he plays a very physical style of football. If you look at what Utah's done, they're big on defense. It's very defensive oriented football teams, and then they've always had a very exciting offense to go along with it. So it's not so old school that it's defense and this slow, mundane offense look. It's a strong defense and an exciting offense that capitalizes off of whatever turnovers or stops the defense gets. So I think all of that will translate well into the Big Ten. It's just going to take some time, I think, and that's what my biggest concern is: the amount of time it's going to take him, the amount of bullshit he's going to have to put up with in the meantime with whatever else they uncover in these scandals, and how big of an impact that's going to have on him moving forward. But I think he's a great coach. I feel confident about this hire. I don't know who else they would have gone and gotten at this point in time. It's pretty late in the game. I was hoping that they weren't going to have to call this season a wash and punt till next year and see what comes out of that coaching cycle. So I think this is a great start. I think this is a good point for them to move forward. And if he stays the full 5 years and then gives it to somebody else, great.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that Michigan needs right now is stability. The past 3 years have been there's been so much that's been going on between Harbaugh leaving and the scandals that have come out, with them getting accused of stealing signs and all the other kind of stuff. And then obviously with this Sharon Moore stuff that just happened here recently, they needed for lack of better terms, an adult to come in and kind of calm the situation and give them that stability going forward to say, hey, he may not make it a full the full 5 years, but at least give us 2, 3 years to find that next coaching opportunity that we want out there. You can look at the landscape and say, hey, a lot of these young, hotter coaches have come down. They have moved on and found their next home for at least the next couple of years. So looking at 2026 at the end of that season, there may not be a lot of opportunity out there for us to go and find that new head coach. So let's get somebody that can help us keep recruits here, keep the in-state talent, not lose a lot to the transfer portal, anything like that, and somebody that has won, Power Four championships, or it was a Power Five at that time, right? Two back-to-back Pac-12 championships. He knows how to win in big conferences. He's gone and he's played against, Oregon and Nebraska and all these other guys, right? He understands that spotlight's not going to scare him in that sense. So it's a good thing for him. Michigan did the right thing there. They needed somebody to come in, calm the waters, make sure that they knew how to win. They know how to run a good program, establish it to where they do get that new young head coach this next time. He's not coming into just a whirlwind of just craziness. He's just a gap coach here, and I think he understands that. Hey, you signed me up for $8 million a year to go be a gap for somebody somewhere. I'll do it real quick.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I
I
think
think it's gonna be good.
I think the other thing too is that, like, if you look at it, this is a more impressive hire than Sharon Moore was. I mean, he's got
Percent, yeah.
more more backing to him than just the defensive coordinator of the national championship team. So
Yeah. They Moore was just for Michigan. It was probably more of just them saying, "Hey, we can do it with the guys that we have in house," and some of those guys, some of those players that were returning, wanting to see Moore get that opportunity, right?
yeah,
So yeah, Sharon Moore was not a sexy hire. Nobody wanted to go play for him. I think I'm assuming. I'm just
I
saying.
think there's an assistant that would argue that that was a sexy hire.
I think you're correct there, but yeah, yeah.